Hi, I'm Alexander Sassen van Elslo. Currently, I'm working for Hotel School The Hague. Before that, I used to work as a stockbroker to UK hedge funds. In the meantime, I also have two consultancy companies, one on finance, the other one on ESG. I'm also involved for the school in the research department, and in that capacity, I've written this article about AI, GDP growth, and net zero. Well, the idea for the article came to me. I was talking with a colleague of mine, which wrote the other part of the article, because basically it's a two-piece setup. He was mentioning AI could revolutionize education, and especially in emerging markets where there's a shortage of good teachers, of capacity, etc. And AI with AI agents could tremendously help in that respect. And I was thinking, well, if that happens, then in the end, it might lead to higher economic growth. And if there's higher economic growth, what about the greenhouse gas emissions and such? And does the net zero targets, will they be in danger or not? So hence, my colleague wrote the article more on AI in education, and I wrote a more general article on AI boosting GDP and also then boosting greenhouse gas emissions, and what Africa should be watchful for in their build-up of their energy infrastructure. Well, there are many causes for the slow transition of Africa to renewable energy sources. The first one is a very general one, is the lack of capital within Africa. So they basically are dependent on capital coming from the West, so to speak. But there are more problems. It has to do with the laws. How well is property rights? How well are they enforced? Is it clear? You also need facilities around it. So if you just build an energy plant, okay, what about the network? You also need a network. So there are a lot of things happening there, permitting, etc., which need to be all working together to create the ideal, the best sort possible way to attract foreign direct investment. And that's not happening at a scale right now which is necessary to reach net zero. Well, the best way Africa can prepare, or African countries can prepare for the energy needs of the future, is really planning for the future. It seems that in a lot of cases, it's the demand is there first, and then the capacity will be built. Well, it should be the other way around. You prospect that you know you're gonna get a lot of capacity needs in the future, and you have to start building today. So you have to go from a more reactive policy to a proactive policy, which again, like the previous question, is very difficult because you need the right proper capital to do so. And capital constraints are there, and they should be solved. So what can African countries do specifically? Well, first of all, make sure that the laws are very well, are clear and enforced really well. Second would be to make it clear to everyone who wants to invest what their duties are and what their rights are. Thirdly, I would say some government guarantees could help fuel investment, because often it's sort of a chicken and egg question. So once you have one thing in place, then the other ones will follow. But if nobody moves, then nothing happens. The other thing is that Africa can push for is that if you look at the Western countries, they already had a fossil-based energy infrastructure. And it's quite expensive because we're basically throwing it away and replacing it with renewables. In Africa, in most parts, or a lot of parts, they don't have an infrastructure yet. So from the get-go, they can get to a more sustainable energy infrastructure, which could give them in the end maybe a competitive advantage vis-a-vis the West. So there are definitely opportunities there which should be marketed properly, and who knows, then Africa might be able to indeed score a higher GDP growth while still helping the net zero targets.